Welcome to the Best in the Game podcast. I'm your host, Mike Jones, aka Jersey Mike, and today got a few topics for you guys. Before we get into the show, please be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. Really appreciate each and every one of y'all rocking with your boy. And let's keep it up, man. Let's run these numbers up. Really appreciate y'all. First question today. What are the New York Giants doing? So by now, people probably seen the New York Giants recently, very recently signed. They signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. Believe it or not, I like this move for Russ. First and foremost, let's not sit around and play the waiting game. We're not gonna sit around and wait to see what Aaron Rodgers does, so on and so forth. So I really appreciate whether or not it came from Russ's side or the Giants side. Somebody just making a move. Aaron Rodgers, him playing this sort of long game and trying to figure things out, and people not being able to make moves until he makes a decision. I'm not for that. So super proud, super happy for Russell Wilson finally coming to New York, coming back to New York, actually, where he won his Super Bowl with the Seahawks. It appears he signed a deal for only 1 year. Um, Personally, I think that might end up getting extended. Russell was coming into a situation where the Giants offense has definitely got some weapons around him. Malik Neighbors, rookie running back sensation from last year as well too. So aside from that, if they can maybe get a semi-decent offensive line, especially left tackle, I think that they'll be okay. This is probably the first time that they've had a QB with a real sort of running, throwing threat and ability. I know that they had Daniel Jones there, but he wasn't really a thrower of the ball, as most of you know. But I think Russ coming in, having that experience, having that championship mentality, I think that this would be a great move for New York. Everybody knows that the front office is under fire, under a lot of pressure right now, especially after having let Saquon go and watch Saquon do with the division rival, the Eagles, what it is that Saquon did. So they are, believe it or not, in sort of a win now mode. And unfortunately, they do have to work with the chips that's kind of on the table right now. They can't really invest too much into the future, which I'll get into to that in a little bit as well too. But I like this move for Russell Wilson. I like the move for the Giants. Unfortunately, they have a fucking slaughterhouse of a schedule coming up. Aside from just their own division, I think they got the Chiefs coming in. They got the 49ers coming in, things of that sort. So it's not going to be an easy task at all whatsoever. They did also pick up Jameis Winston as well too. Jameis Winston, I know what the reputation is for him around the league is, and I don't care, man. I like the guy's reputation. Everybody says he's a fantastic locker room guy. Obviously, he has sort of like that entertainment and it factor with him. Hopefully, as he continues to progress in his career, he can just bring the interceptions down. Everybody know he's not scared to throw that pill. He'll throw the ball. He'll get the ball out, but we just got to keep those interceptions down. And him being a backup to Russell Wilson, I just feel like that's also another great opportunity. The same way he previously had when he was backing up Drew Brees in New Orleans. So super happy for that guy. As a result of the Giants signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I'm sure that's created a lot of other questions as to whether or not the Giants will take a quarterback in the draft. I think they have the third spot. They're either third or fourth or something like that. You know, the whole situation with them possibly taking Shador. Um, Here's the thing, like I like Shador. I think Shador is cool. I think the Giants probably need to focus on bringing in another weapon. Maybe looking at Travis Hunter if he's still available, somebody who can definitely provide a lot of help, especially if they allow him to play on both sides of the ball. Shador, I think Shador can be put in a little bit of a better situation. And I really kind of feel like that's what this Giants move is saying. This Giants move is saying, we're not going to draft the QB, at least not that high. If somebody's sticking around, maybe later they'll do it. But I think the writing is on the wall with the moves that the Giants are making right now. So That would be the situation. Giants wouldn't. Nobody would blame the Giants if they went in on defense as well. If they went in on defense, got old boy from Penn State, that would probably make a lot of sense too. I know he recently had an injury, I think at the draft combine, but it'll be all good because defense wins championships. Everybody knows that. I play linebacker, so I gotta say that. I'm required to say that legally. Really quick, other NFL moves. Stephon Diggs appears to that Stephon Diggs is signing with the Patriots. Um, I don't know how I feel about that move. I mean, why leave Houston? Why leave Houston so fast? I mean, besides the fact that Houston is an amazing city, very, very, very much part of the culture. They displayed a lot of the new uniforms and stuff like that this past season. Really enjoyed watching those guys. But you know, Stephon Diggs, his season was short, and I believe he tore towards ACL, MCL, something of the sort halfway through the season. Was on pace to have a 1,000-yard season, of course, like very easily. Um, I do understand. Okay, Houston, the wide receiver room, maybe not crowded, but definitely filled with talent. I just don't understand why the quick departure this time. Going to New England wouldn't be a huge adjustment for him, especially having played in Buffalo previously. So he's used to the cold. He know what that feels like. Played college at Maryland, so again, still know what that's like. But I don't know. I have questions as to why this is the case. I'm not too familiar with the deal. I'm not. I believe it's like 2 or 3 years, something like that. Maybe 40 million guaranteed. It might be the money. It might be he might have gotten a larger guarantee than he would have gotten in Houston. I think especially because they're gonna have to pay CJ Stroud here coming up pretty soon. So kudos to the Patriots trying to make moves, trying to improve the roster. Still disagree with them letting go of Gerard Mayo so soon, but I guess they think they know what it is that they're doing. So shout out to Stephon Diggs, and I just need you to suck when y'all play my Jets. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go ahead and drop every ball that comes your way 2 times during the season. All the other games, do your thing. I don't care, but when you play the Jets, drop the ball. All right, appreciate it. Next question. Mike, what are your thoughts on the Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James drama? Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Uh I guess I'm gonna do like Stephen A. I didn't wanna talk about this. I didn't want to talk about this, but since you brought it up, uh I guess I have to talk about it or have to say something about it. The Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James drama, it's very, 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 very easy. It's very easy. Stephen A. Smith knows this, LeBron James knows this. Okay? It's super easy. Just stay professional. Just stay down a professional lane. Don't get down into the weeds and talking about people's personal lives and things of that sort, and you won't have any problems. Stephen A., high profile analyst, ESPN, just got paid a big contract. Congrats. Big fan of that. Big culture moves. Stephen A. Smith was confronted by LeBron James during a game a couple weeks ago in regards to some comments that he made in regards to LeBron and his son Bronny, who also plays for the Lakers. People were wondering what the comments were about, and when the smoke settled, basically it came down to LeBron was not okay with Stephen A. discussing LeBron's fathering, or his fathering skills in regards to Bronny, so on and so forth. Stephen A. Smith went on a long little tangent on his show First Take, discussing LeBron James, talking about Bronny, saying, "Hey man, don't do this as a dad. You're such and such." And that's you don't criticize someone's parenting, okay? Like or at least as a sports analyst, it's sort of like, where does that come from? It's like, if you're a sports analyst, why are we getting into the personal thing and discussing that, so on and so forth? So LeBron confronted him about it, and I believe there was not full clarity in regards to why the confrontation had happened at that point, but it then later out came There was a small clip of LeBron talking to Richard Jefferson, former teammate, and just saying, hey, like, don't talk about my fathering of my son. Like, if you want to talk about Bronny's basketball skills, his ability, that's one thing. But talking about the way in which I'm raising him and putting him in positions for things, that's something totally different. So I have no problems with LeBron approaching him in that regard. Except the fact that, like, I guess just because it just seemed out of character for him to approach him in person in that way. I don't think or take LeBron to be like a theatrical person where he's just always looking to consume the attention. I really do feel like he just had an opportunity, or he saw an opportunity to speak up to someone in regards to something that he didn't like, and he just took that opportunity to do that. Stephen A. I don't even want to say Stephen A. teeters the line. I mean, most people who watch sports journalism, sports broadcasting, sports talk debate, they know that those guys get hot and heavy and get in the moment. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, when it used to be Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, they used to go against, Skip Bayless a lot because Skip Bayless would input a lot of his personal feelings into his takes and things of that sort. And I mean, that's his brand. You know what I mean? Like he was doing that with ESPN. He did that with Fox Sports, now doing that on his own show, the Skip Bayless show. But you know, and Skip lives and dies in that. He will do that knowing and understanding that players, coaches, whomever may confront him regarding some things. But that's typically not Stephen A's MO. Stephen A highlights the good, the bad. He talks about all the sports. He has great relationships with these people, always confidential and professional with his sources. So whatever the case is two grown black men having, a disagreement, and it didn't come to blows. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm more happy and I'm more proud of that. Like, hey, let's have a discussion. It could be heated. We can be respectful of each other, but let's not have this situation between, two black amazing professionals, both of them in their respective fields. Like, let's not have it come to blows, if that makes sense. So we'll see. We'll see how it progresses. I'm pretty sure things will be okay, and Stephen A is going to go his way, and LeBron's going to go his way. So we'll see. Let's see. Last question today. Jalen Brown? Question mark? Question mark, question mark. 3 question marks with Jalen Brown's name. Jalen Brown recently was on a show or a podcast, something. I saw a few clips floating around, and I seen him say some things, and I'm like, we talk about all the time the way in which people can take things out of context, especially when it gets clipped up, because people are making clickbait all the time. And so what I did was I took the time to actually find like the full length video, full length conversation. He appeared to be having a conversation with the host, and in this conversation he was discussing some of the things that professional athletes have to deal with and go through. I think he spoke a lot more from a basketball perspective, so I'll try to keep it strictly basketball. But basically what he was saying was that a lot of these major companies that work with basketball players, they will sign players to have not just a standing within their careers and so on and so forth, but to like sort of, gain an access to control players, right? So he was mentioning how I'm gonna use Nike because that's what he said specifically. He talked about how like people signed to Nike, so on and so forth. Like, when they sign to Nike, those are the people who are being put out in the front more so than other athletes and things of that sort. He also here was my confusion in regards to what he said. Jalen Brown, like he was talking about how there are all these people that fall under these brands, and these brands have control over them, and people are allowed to say or not allowed to say and have control. And he really that's really not his MO. Like he's a smart guy, he's an intelligent guy. That's like been widely reported. And it's been said that he's had difficulty getting brand deals, particularly maybe because of his brand, because of his marketing, because of his personality. Certainly the branding it shouldn't have anything to do with his play. Jalen Brown, I believe, is one of the most talented players in the league. I think he's the best Celtic in the league right now. Obviously, balling at a high capacity. Those guys are number one or number two in the East right now. Former Finals MVP. Like I personally think he is the best Celtic right now. So on a basketball court, he's absolutely proven and proving at the same time because he's got absolutely so many more years to go. But it has been sort of like widely conversed in podcasts, a lot of different shows, sports debate shows about his branding and his inability to get him to sign brand deals, things of that sort. And listen, I don't know him personally. I don't know his personality. They say that he's a very mindful individual. He's not just going to sign his name to anything or anyone. But in this interview, he was being very critical and criticizing other players for doing that, for having signed, to Nike and all these other available brands, which, listen, I DMP, I did not play, but I didn't play professional sports, but all these guys talk about how it's cold. Like you don't talk about other people's situation, you don't talk about other people's money, but he's very forward in confronting about that. And I don't know, I found it very interesting. Again, we're talking about somebody maybe not your conventional idea of a basketball player mindset wise. He wants to help his community. He wants to help uplift his people, the culture, so on and so forth. I'm with that. I'm with that. But it's just that it seems like you're doing it at a cost to persons in which you have to deal with and relate with directly on a daily basis, whether it be other NBA players, players on other teams, teammates, things of that sort. So I found that to be very interesting. I did. I personally, I mean, who am I? But I personally had a problem with like the idea that he had made discussions about all these players signing deals and signing their lives away. However, he didn't name names. Actually, let me take that back. He did name a name. He mentioned LeBron James, but he didn't name any other names. And in that moment, while watching the interview, it just came across as that LeBron hate that a lot of people seem to have, LeBron envy that a lot of people seem to have. And it was like, listen, if you're saying LeBron is one of these people that's being controlled by Nike and all these other brands, that's one thing, but name somebody else. Provide more input. Like, you're the professional athlete. You're the one that have access. You're the one that have all the contacts. Go ahead and enlighten us. And I just feel like it fell a little bit flat because there wasn't enough information. There wasn't a whole bunch of information put out. Now, inside the interview, they discussed a whole bunch of other things. They grossly highlighted how, some of these players are being taken advantage of agents and still going broke within 5 years of leaving the NBA. And listen, I feel like it's very important to continue to highlight those things, especially in this age of NIL where we got young players coming into the leagues getting all this money from a lot of different areas. You want to definitely invest that, take care of yourself, secure your future, XYZ, XYZ. But the problem with that interview is, when you're having those conversations, I feel like you got to talk a little bit about it from both sides. And he wasn't really providing solutions in that regard. It's like, okay, you're highlighting the idea, you're highlighting the fact that people, professional athletes, are going broke after their playing careers, but what are we going to do to fix it? What's the steps to fix it? It seems like he just wanted to play the blame game and say, hey, it's the agent's fault, or that person's fault, or it's Nike's fault. And it's like, listen, I'm all for having a conversation. I feel like a lot of athletes, a lot of professionals are all for having a conversation. No one wants to be taken advantage of. Again, keeping it basketball, we've seen stories. One of the ones that kind of got me was like Antoine Walker, former Celtic. Look, coincidence, Celtic. That's probably why he's highlighting that. And he's a former Celtic who appeared to make some bad investments, but here's the thing. You got to be able to distinguish the difference. Bad investments and going broke. Um, Bad investments is sort of like a subdivision of going broke, but you can go broke in so many different ways because again, the stories that we've heard, you're paying for the homies' travel, you're paying for your family's everything, you're paying for your cousins and XYZ's everything. That's one thing. But if you made a bad investment and you put too much money in that and you also let, that's just another different way of losing the money, which Antoine Walker wouldn't be the first nor the last person to make a bad investment. I mean, that happens. The bankruptcy court exists for a freaking reason, if anything. It was just one of those things. I think it makes for an interesting conversation. I just felt like there's more. I think that he has to provide a little bit more input in regards to these things. Name names, talk about people. He said agents. Who? What agents are taking advantage of people? What agencies are taking advantage of people? What brands are taking advantage of people? Because now, here's the thing. We've had so many of these stories, not in just basketball, across almost all sports, where it's like in 2025, really Jalen Brown, 2025, this is still happening. Athletes are still losing out all their money. Is it on the athlete? Is it on the person's taking advantage? Is it both? Is there like a third party that's responsible for this? Like why are we playing the blame game? Like I think it's important that everyone take advantage of their finances. And unfortunately, there's going to be these sort of economic things that happen that impact us all in different certain ways. And the money's going to be up, then the money's going to go down. The money hopefully comes back up. But, you know, we got to go get it. Like T.I. said, you got to go get it. You got to go get it. And making great investments, doing those things. I mean, Jalen, you have a great point. Y'all have more access than the common man to all the tech guys, the tech investments. We're talking about the brokers. We're talking about getting the annuities and all those things. They have great access, but why are we not highlighting that? Why are we not also highlighting not just the problem, but how we can find solutions for these things? That's my only issue with that. So hopefully we can continue to grow that conversation. I'd love to have a conversation with Jalen Brown in that regard. I think I have some experience in regard to some of these things, not on a professional athlete level, but just as a, like, how do you set course to take care of yourself for the rest of your life? I think that would be a great conversation. I hope we can make that happen soon. So, Jalen, if you hear this, reach out to me, bro. All right. Well, that's going to be the end of today's episode. Appreciate y'all rocking out with your boy. Before we go, sending thoughts and healing prayers and healing energy to Juju Watkins of USC and to Dame Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks, both of them suffering season-ending injuries. It's been a pleasure and an honor to watch Juju play basketball this particular season. I think this is her second season at USC. Dame Lillard, really, the Bucks look like they were primed to make a great playoff run, and I can only imagine how devastating this is to the team and their goals and things of that sort. So sending thoughts and healing prayers to both of those players. Phenomenal. Love watching them. And as a fan, I can tell you, like, we just can't wait to see y'all back on the hardcore. We can't wait to see y'all doing what it is y'all love. So greatly appreciate that. And, thoughts and healing prayers, and get well soon. All right. Lastly, want to send thoughts and healing prayers to a really good friend of mine, Tammy. Understand that, these type of things happen, accidents happen, and just want to let you know that me and the fam, we're praying for you and sending hope and healing and well wishes to you. Hope that you get well soon, okay? Appreciate y'all rocking with your boy. It's another episode of Best of the Game podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen to wherever you like to listen to podcasts, things of that sort. I'm going to catch y'all next time, and I'm out.